What's up, Legacy Builders? I'm Rob.
I'm Reshawn.
And this is Learn, Hustle, Grow.
Learn, Hustle, Grow is about creating a legacy. We're sharing our passions for money, marriage, and travel with other legacy builders like you. Legacy Builders 2020 is fast approaching. It's hard to believe that we are already at the end of the year.
Indeed.
It went fast, didn't it, babe?
It did, especially when you are traveling for most of the year. That's the fastest year I've ever experienced.
Yes, absolutely. As we approach the new year, if you guys are anything like us, you are setting goals and thinking about your future. You may be thinking about things like losing weight, making more money, career advancement, even managing your finances. At least we hope you guys are thinking about that. What we don't want to forget about is our marriage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get married thinking that it's just going to work out.
No. It's going to take a lot of work. So
there's a lot more time spent planning a wedding than there is actually planning the marriage. And it's important to us that we are intentional about our covenant. So we are going to discuss 14 things that we can do to improve our marriage in 2020. And we hope it helps you guys too.
14. Number 14, commit to an annual marriage enrichment activity. So we try our best to make at least one activity for marriage a year. For example, like at our church, there's several of them going on, but they'll have one just for, people who are married, and it'll be about, what is it, about 3 weeks or something like that? It's like one time a week for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
for 6 weeks. And we try to attend those to try to keep things fresh and try to be around other married couples for the times that we can't and stuff like that. And, it's usually pretty, it reels you back in if you might be slipping away from certain habits and things you're supposed to be doing in a marriage, with all the busyness. So.
All right, and even if we don't attend the 6-week session, sometimes we just do a marriage conference, right?
Yes, they have marriage conferences too.
Yeah, and marriage conference goes on for a weekend, usually a Friday and Saturday night.
Those are really fun.
Yeah, or even a Sunday morning.
Yep, they have food and they have, music, and they just do a lot of activities together and stuff, and it's a really good time. So.
Yep.
That is my number 14.
Number 13, take advantage of technology to inspire your marriage. You are already on social media like Facebook and Instagram. Consider using those things as a way to boost your daily dose of positive thinking. There are all kinds of Facebook pages, Instagram pages around the topic of marriage. Follow those things that are going to inspire you. Along with social media, consider listening to a podcast, checking out some YouTube videos like you're doing right now. The podcast you can actually listen to anywhere, in your car, at the gym, in the grocery store. Marriage Today is one of my favorites. It is a Christian-based podcast that helps me to remember that marriage is bigger than just Rob and I. Our covenant goes beyond just the two of us, and it is important to keep that in mind when you are, bickering with each other over the small things on a day-to-day basis. So just remember that technology can be used for a multitude of things. And don't forget about the importance of inspiring yourselves via Facebook and Instagram. You can follow Marriage Today. I'm having a brain freeze right now. But if you search the topic of marriage, you'll find some really good ones out there. And don't forget to listen to a podcast. Find one in the library, subscribe, and keep it on your playlist.
Number 12, read books on the topic of marriage. One of our favorites is The 5 Love Languages. I believe everyone who is married should read that book to try to, get some understanding on what might be going on with their spouse and vice versa. Because it was a fantastic book. Even though I didn't want to read it, but I did, and I felt better about it. So there's another one called Love and Respect. And I know there's a third that we talked about.
Power of a Praying Wife and Power of a Praying Husband.
Okay, yeah. But those are great books, and we believe that if we try to do one of those, hopefully at least once a year, then that stuff kind of keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
So
that love and respect was a real eye opener.
yeah.
We've done a video on the 5 love languages if you guys want to check that out.
Yeah.
But love and
was my
respect,
favorite.
we actually haven't covered that yet. Maybe we'll do a video on that in the future, but super informational, especially for the wives, I think.
Yep. So that's my number 12. Anything else?
That's it. While we're on the topic of planning for the new year, let's talk about number 11. Take a vacation.
I'm down with that.
It is absolutely essential that you spend time together as a married couple, away from your children.
Yes.
There has to be time just the two of you. And a vacation gives you an opportunity to get away from your day-to-day responsibilities of going to work, paying bills, getting the kids off to school. Spend some time planning a trip just for yourselves. And if you need help with that, of course, we're available. Learn, Hustle, Grow, Travel can be found on Facebook. You can also shoot me an email, learnhustlegrow365@gmail.com.
I did not see that plug coming. Number 10, schedule time with other married couples. Trust me, sometimes you can feel alone in this world. But when you hang out with other married couples and see they have the same issues and problems and households that you have, then you realize you are not that special. So it's great to hang out with other married couples, even if it is just to get some stuff off your chest with each other and as a couple, and just talk about life, right? We all need friends. We can't do this alone, guys.
Yeah.
So that is my number 10.
Yeah, number 10, schedule time with other married couples. Number 9, schedule a weekly connection. This is something that we could certainly be better about. Just scheduling time to sit down with one another to check in and say, hey, how are we doing?
Are we good?
Yes. Are there areas that I can improve on to be a better spouse?
Yeah, it's sad to see sometimes people say, you wonder like, hey, how'd you guys break up? You find out some longtime friends or something break up and you wonder what happened, and they say, oh, we just kind of grew apart. We weren't talking. We weren't doing this. And that's like, wow, that should never happen. You know, we should always be talking to each other, especially since we live in the same house. Or if we're not, find time to talk to each other.
Make the time. That's what it means to be intentional. To make something important and not to put our marriage on autopilot.
Right.
And it's easy. We can see how it can happen.
Yes.
We're so busy with so many things, so many goals we want to accomplish. We can tend to put the marriage on the back burner. So there we are, number 9. Schedule a weekly connection. If you schedule it weekly and, you miss it, which we do sometimes, then maybe it becomes a bi-weekly habit.
Right. But at least you know it's coming, right?
Yeah.
So, number 9. Number 8. Our number 8 is schedule a weekly date night, which is different from a weekly
connection.
Yes. Not everyone can get to that vacation together as soon as they need to. So this is definitely a short-term thing when you can schedule the date night weekly. So go out, hit the movies, get a babysitter, do whatever, and just so it can be you and your spouse for that week. And got anything else on that, baby?
Yeah, and you know what? There are tons of ideas and ways to mix up your date night. We fall into the habits of dinner and movies, and that's great just to have some time together. But if you do a little bit of research on the internet, you might decide to head to the gun range.
Oh, snap.
Right?
I didn't know she was interested.
Right? You might decide to, spend time in your own city.
We say tango.
I was gonna say spend time in your own city on the hop on, hop off bus.
Ooh, that's a good idea. She got ideas,
right?
Yeah.
But he said tango because I would love for us to take a dance class.
Yeah.
And we haven't done that yet.
It's coming, guys. It's coming.
So another thing that's on our list, 10 years in, and there's still tons of things that we haven't done together yet.
Yeah. She's been trying to get me to jump out of a plane with her for years. And I've done that in the military, but I survived too many times, and now she wants to do it. She's never done it.
I've never done it.
I'm holding up. I was going to do it when we were in New Zealand, but she was sick and hey, it just worked out that way. What do you want me to do?
Skydiving is still on the list, guys. So there you go. Make your date night exciting.
Mm-hmm. That was number 8.
Number 7, put sex on the calendar.
My favorite. Number 7.
That's right. We're saying put sex on the calendar because it's another one of those things that you can forget. Yes, you're sleeping together in the same bed, but by the time you get to the bed, often you are tired. At least we know we are. We can't speak for you. We know you guys have boundless energy, and you never forget to have sex, and you are getting it on like
I'm
rabbits.
44, so I'm tired. You need that connection.
Yes,
guys. The
it is important.
Yes.
I mean, we can't stress that enough. It binds you, beyond just being parents. It's important that we remember that we are lovers.
Right.
So if you aren't getting it on a regular basis, put it on the calendar. Make sure that you are preparing for it up until that moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Lock that door. Make sure those kids can't just bust in there like that.
Right.
I mean, they're going to be gone one day, and then what you going to do then? So.
Yeah. You're looking at that calendar in the morning before you get started on your day. So tonight is the night. Do whatever you can to make it special and try to stick to it.
Number 7. Our number 6 for ways to improve your marriage in 2020 is create a budget.
Yep.
So you got to create that budget so everybody's on the same page on what's being spent, who gets what for their allowance, and all of this. Right, baby?
Yeah. A budget is an essential part of a relationship, guys.
It's going to be beef every day if there's no budget. It just is.
You can avoid money fights if you can get on page with where your finances are going.
Yeah. Eventually somebody's going to feel like it's uneven, it's not fair, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you know where every dollar's going and you know who gets what, then it's nothing to fight about, right?
Yeah. It also gives you that sense of security to have a budget because somewhere in there, ideally, there is savings.
Right.
And in case of an
goals,
emergency, you want to make sure that you have a cushion. Don't add additional stress to your marriage by not planning ahead for financial situations.
Yeah. Thank God we had a budget before I lost my job one time. It was tough getting on board, but we eventually did. And then I lost my job and I was out of work for 5 months.
Yeah.
And guess what? We were good because we had that budget in place. That makes things worse. That's just more weight on the marriage, more stress and weight on the marriage because we did not, if we had not prepared for that, right?
Yeah.
So, and it worked out.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
Yeah.
Number 5, if you are creating your plans for 2020 and looking at ways to improve your marriage, consider creating a vision and purpose statement for your family.
Yes.
Yeah, we talk about this in one of our videos, and creating a vision and purpose statement allowed us to look at the big picture, understand what's important to us, and make sure that everything we do ties into that vision and purpose statement.
Yep.
Our vision statement for our family is to walk out our faith, living debt-free, always giving, always growing, always grateful.
Indeed.
Yeah, so you guys feel free to adopt that or to use it as a template, but make sure you sit down together and talk about those pillars that are important to both of you and what you want to incorporate, and that will help to keep you focused and inspired in the new year.
Indeed. Number 4, attend church once a week, at least. Of course, when you go to church, they want you to do a lot more than that, like, volunteering and stuff like that. And, we try to get to more of it, but at least that once a week situation. I know for us, or for me, I need to be there at least once a week for after the tough week that I have, or after getting away from myself in traffic or whatever is going down.
It's true for both of us. It's not just him.
I'm just only speaking for myself. But I'm the kind of guy that my blood gets boiling and I'm about to have a heart attack, during the week about whatever situation. And church calms me back down. It gives me a understanding of what God wants our family to look like and how we should be acting, or in general to the world. And it helps me to also constantly on how to forgive people, because I'm constantly, upset about whatever. And I'm trying to master the art of forgiveness, even though I'm not perfect at all at it. But I need it. I need to be in church at least once a week so I can keep myself grounded.
And I will say, as a wife, I am truly impressed by his commitment to be at church once a week. It is something that I admire about him, his desire to always grow, to do, and to be better.
Struggle is real.
Yeah. It makes me want to be a better wife.
But I'm trying, so that is my number 4.
That's awesome, babe. Number 3, discuss your goals.
Yeah.
It is so important for us as a married couple to understand where we each are as far as achieving our goals. Career goals, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Does that include a relocation, right?
Like downtown?
Right? Is there a desire to leave corporate America and, start your own entrepreneurial venture?
Yeah.
The more you discuss those things, the better you can plan to make sure that you're on the same page for both short-term and long-term. But not just your career, right? But when do you want to retire? What if you can't retire at the same time?
Yep.
What if one of you never wants to retire? There are certain things we start to assume about our spouse because we're feeling that way, right? It could easily be the case that one of you wants to work forever and you love your career, and the other is trying to work a plan to get out and to start something new. But you can't know that for sure until you discuss it. So for us, it's always been beneficial to sit down and discuss it. We are creating new goals right now, even as we make these videos for you guys. Things have changed for us significantly.
Yep.
And we are working on our goals.
We love working on our goals. So
Yes. So that's it. Number 3.
Number 2, daily affirmation via your spouse's love language.
That's a good one, babe.
So we spoke on the 5 love languages book earlier, but in the 5 love languages, you have to figure out what your spouse's love language is and then try to implement that daily or as much as possible, right?
Yes. And we did do a video on the 5 love languages. I think I mentioned that earlier. But we'll go ahead and recap what the 5 love languages are. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, receiving gifts, and acts of service. Yes,
her favorite.
Got it.
Acts of service.
So if you are the type of person who loves acts of service like myself, if your spouse brings home gifts, it's not exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
I would love for him to decide to cook dinner, wash dishes, sweep the floor.
I'd rather give gifts.
Those things are near and dear to my heart. And that's what's going to excite me and make me feel appreciated.
Who doesn't like gifts?
Whereas, I understand that his love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch.
Are they? Oh, yeah.
I think he forgot. Anyway, but I remember what they are, and I try to make sure that I
Study
daily,
your spouse.
yes,
right?
that daily
She always says
I'm
she has a
doing something.
PhD in me, so that's pretty dope.
I'm working on it. So anyway, that was our number 2. Number 1.
Our last one.
Our number 1 recommendation for planning to improve your marriage in 2020 is pray together.
Yes.
This has made a tremendous difference in our relationship.
Yeah.
We noticed the difference so much when we stopped praying together that we immediately had to figure out a way to get back on track.
Mm-hmm. It's not always easy for guys. I know this especially. But, you committed to the, marriage relationship. So this goes with it, and it definitely does help. We just got to get over that. She's my wife, she's my best friend, and we got to put us first.
Yeah.
And even though I felt like it was just something she wanted to do, now I realize it's something we need to do. And that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah. When we pray together out loud, it allows us to share our intentions for one another.
Yeah.
Right? When you argue, or when we argue, when we fall out,
we always argue.
You can actually begin to see your spouse as the enemy. And that sucks.
It does.
To feel like you're married to somebody that you are battling against on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But when we come together and pray out loud for one another, we are sharing our best, our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations for the other person. And honestly, there's nothing that moves me more than to be able to do that for the people I love. So absolutely, my husband is my number one, and I want to make sure that I am doing that for him and with him on a daily basis.
All right, guys, this wraps up our 14 ways to improve your marriage in 2020. We hope you got something from it. If you want, you can drop a line below and give us some of yours so we can all help each other grow.
Yeah. This is a plan. It's not to be done in one day. Right. That's why we suggested some things to be done on an annual basis, some things to be done on a weekly basis, and then some things that can be done on a daily basis. We are looking forward to being married until death do us part. And we know that we have to be intentional in order to make sure that happens.
Yep. So,
see you in the next video.